In 2 days, I might vanish, just like my brothers did. My name is Amara, and I am terrified. In my family, turning 15 isn't a celebration, it's a countdown to disaster. Toby, my parents' first son, disappeared on his 15th birthday. Kelechi, my second brother, vanished exactly 1 day before his own. Now, my 15th birthday is in 48 hours. I still remember the day Toby went missing. He was walking home after hanging out with friends who came to wish him well. He never made it home. The police searched, neighbors joined, but nothing. No footprints, no phone, no body. Mom cried for weeks. Dad moved on in just 2 days. In fact, the same month Toby vanished, Dad got a sudden promotion at work. We moved into a bigger house, started going to an expensive school, and Dad began building his own mansion. Mom kept asking about Toby, but each time she did, Dad's voice would rise. "Let the boy rest, Ijoma." His anger would fill the house until Mom fell silent. Years later, it was Kelechi's turn. He was quiet, always drawing strange shapes on his bedroom walls. The night before his 15th birthday, a scream shattered our sleep. Mom and I rushed to his room. The door was locked from the inside. We broke it open, and he was gone. The front door was still locked, no signs of a break-in. Mom fell to the floor, wailing until morning. Since that night, Mom has been a shadow, pale, weak, whispering my brother's names at night. But Dad? He smiles too much. He gets strange phone calls, stepping outside to talk in low tones. When I walk in, he stops and forces a wide smile. 2 nights ago, I woke to faint whispers in the hallway. At first, I thought it was Mom, but the voice was deeper. A man's voice. Dad's. I crept closer and heard him say one thing clearly. "It will be ready. On the night of the 15th. I couldn't sleep after that. Tomorrow is the night of the 15th. If my brothers are gone forever, I think I know who took them. The morning after I overheard Dad, the house felt different. The air was thick, like it was holding its breath. Mom wouldn't look me in the eye. She made breakfast, but her hands shook so badly she spilled tea twice. When Dad left for work, she finally sat across from me. Her voice was low, trembling. "Amara, tonight, don't leave your room. Lock your door. No matter what you hear, don't open it." Her words sent a shiver down my spine. "What's going on, Mom?" I asked. She opened her mouth, but her eyes darted toward the door. She shut it again. "Just promise me," she whispered, gripping my wrist so tightly it hurt. I nodded, but my mind was screaming. Why was she saying this now? Did she know something about Toby and Kelechi? That night I lay in bed with my door locked, clutching my phone like a weapon. Hours passed. Then, footsteps, slow, heavy, stopping right outside my door. A soft knock, then Dad's voice. "Amara, open the door. I need to talk to you." I stayed silent. His voice grew colder. "Don't make me ask twice." My heart pounded, but I didn't move. After a long silence, the footsteps walked away. I thought I was safe, until I heard the lock on my door click from the outside. I jumped out of bed and tried the handle. It wouldn't turn. Dad had locked me in. Panic clawed at my throat. I called Mom's phone. No answer. From the hallway, faint voices drifted in. Dad's deep tone and another man's I didn't recognize. "She'll be ready," Dad said, "just like the others." My knees went weak. The others. He was talking about Toby and Kelechi. Then the stranger's voice. "The deal must be kept." No mistakes this time. Footsteps moved away and the house fell silent again. I pressed my ear to the wall. Somewhere below, the sound of something scraping, like a heavy object being dragged. Hours passed before I heard Mom's hurried steps in the hallway. The key turned in my lock. She burst in, pale and sweating. "Get dressed," she whispered. "We're leaving. Now." I didn't argue. We crept to the back door. But when Mom opened it, Dad was standing there, smiling. Mom froze. My pulse roared in my ears. "Going somewhere?" Dad asked, his smile sharp as a knife. We needed fresh air," Mom stammered. Dad stepped closer. "It's almost midnight. You know what happens at midnight, Ijoma?" Her grip on my arm tightened. "Desmond, please, enough." His voice boomed, making me flinch. "Do you want her to end up like the others, or do you want her to serve her purpose?" I stared at him, my heart breaking. "Dad, what are you talking about?" He looked at me like I was nothing but a piece on a chessboard. "You'll understand soon." Then he turned to Mom. "Take her upstairs." Mom didn't move. That's when Dad's hand shot out and gripped her chin. "You know the deal. You break it. We all suffer." I didn't know what he meant, but fear rooted me to the spot. Finally, Mom pulled me toward the stairs. As we went up, I glanced back. Dad was still watching us, that same strange smile on his face. I knew then. My father wasn't going to let me live past my 15th birthday. The next day, Dad didn't go to work. He stayed home, pacing, checking his phone constantly. At noon, a black car pulled into our driveway. A tall man in a dark coat stepped out. His face was hidden under a hat. Dad greeted him like an old friend, but their smiles didn't reach their eyes. I hid at the top of the stairs, straining to hear. "Everything's ready," Dad said. "Tomorrow night we finish this." The man's voice was gravelly. "Good. Payment will be delivered immediately after." They both glanced toward the stairs, and I ducked back before they could see me. When the man left, Dad locked the front door, then his study. I waited until the house was quiet before creeping down. The study door was unlocked now. I slipped inside. On his desk lay an old, cracked leather book. Its cover was stamped with strange symbols, and 3 names written inside: Toby, Kelechi, and Amara. My hands trembled as I traced the names. The ink beside Toby's and Kelechi's names was smudged, like something had been written and then crossed out. But next to my name was tomorrow's date. I heard footsteps and quickly slid the book back into place, slipping out just before Dad entered the study. From my room, I could hear the faint creak of the study chair and the rustle of pages. I thought about telling Mom, but something in me hesitated. What if she already knew? That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the sound of Dad's voice saying, "Finish this." At 2 a.m., I heard the soft chime of the front door opening. Peeking from my window, I saw Dad walking to the black car again. The man in the coat handed him a small wooden box. Dad looked inside, nodded, and tucked it under his arm. He didn't come back inside until the sky was turning gray. The next morning, Dad was in a strangely good mood. He whistled as he made coffee, like nothing was wrong. The wooden box sat on the kitchen counter. When he went upstairs, I rushed to open it, but it was locked. A small symbol was carved into the top, a circle with 3 jagged lines cutting through it. I'd seen that same symbol before, in Kelechi's drawings. Before I could think too hard about it, I heard Dad's footsteps returning. I shoved the box back into place and slipped out. Later, while Mom was cooking, I asked her about the symbol. She froze, her knife clattering to the floor. "Where did you see that?" she whispered. I lied. "Just in a book." Her eyes darted toward the living room where Dad sat watching TV. She leaned close and said, "If you see that symbol again, run." That night, the house felt alive. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, when faint whispers rose from the walls. I pressed my ear to the plaster. They weren't just whispers. They were voices. My brother's voices. "Amara, leave, before it's too late." My breath caught in my throat. "Toby, Kelechi," I whispered. No answer. I pressed harder against the wall. The voices faded, replaced by a low, guttural chanting. Footsteps creaked in the hallway. Through the thin gap under my door, I saw Dad's shadow, and another shadow beside him, taller, distorted. They stopped outside my room. The chanting grew louder, and then, all at once, silence. Morning came heavy and slow. Dad was gone, but Mom was pacing the kitchen like a trapped animal. When she saw me, she pressed something cold into my hand, a small brass key. "It's for the box," she said quickly. "You have one chance. Tonight, when he leaves for the meeting, open it. But whatever you find, don't touch it." Her voice was shaking so badly I could barely hear her. I hid the key in my pocket, my mind racing. That evening, Dad left, wearing a black coat I'd never seen before. Mom pretended to be washing dishes, but her eyes followed him until the door closed. I grabbed the box from the kitchen counter and slid the key in. The lock clicked open. Inside was a bundle wrapped in cloth. When I unwrapped it, my breath caught. It was a necklace made of tiny human teeth. I dropped the necklace as if it had burned me. The teeth clattered on the table. Mom rushed in, snatched the cloth, and wrapped it back up. Her hands shook violently. "This is what he trades," she whispered. "Your brothers. They weren't taken by strangers. They were given." The words slammed into me like a fist. Given. To who? She looked toward the door, fear flashing in her eyes. "To something that keeps your father alive, something older than this house, older than us." Before I could ask more, the sound of the front door unlocking froze us both. Mom shoved the box back into my hands. "Hide it! Now!" I ran to my room and slid it under my bed just as Dad's footsteps reached the kitchen. He called out cheerfully, "Amara, tomorrow's your big day. I've planned something special for you." My hands clenched into fists. Tomorrow night, I would find out the truth. I couldn't eat dinner. Every bite felt like sawdust in my mouth. Dad sat across from me, grinning like we were a happy family. Mom barely touched her food. When the dishes were cleared, Dad poured himself a drink. "You know, Amara," he said, swirling the glass, 15 is a big age. It's when a person finally becomes useful." I forced a smile. "Useful how?" He leaned back. "You'll see tomorrow." I went to bed early, but I didn't sleep. Every creak of the house made my heart race. I kept replaying Mom's words. Your brothers were given. At 3 a.m., I heard it again. The chanting. This time it was closer, as if it were coming from inside my room. I gripped the necklace of teeth under my bed. A whisper brushed my ear. "Run." Morning came too quickly. Mom avoided me entirely, staying in her room with the door locked. Dad left early, saying he had preparations to make. I wandered the house, searching for anything that could help me escape. That's when I noticed a door I'd never seen before, hidden behind a heavy bookshelf in the hallway. It was slightly open, revealing stairs leading down into darkness. I hesitated, but curiosity pulled me forward. The air grew colder with each step. At the bottom, I found a stone basement lit by a single bulb. Symbols were carved into the walls, the same circle with jagged lines I'd seen before. And in the center of the room was a stone table stained dark with something that could only be blood. Beside the table was an old trunk. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Each one showed a child standing beside my father. Some I recognized from the neighborhood, others I didn't. In the back of the pile, my breath caught. It was a picture of Toby, Kalechi, and me. The photo had been taken years ago, but there was fresh ink around my face, a circle, like I was marked. Suddenly, footsteps echoed above me. Someone was coming. I shoved the photos back into the trunk and darted up the stairs, pushing the bookshelf closed just as Dad's shadow appeared at the end of the hallway. That night, Mom slipped into my room, her eyes red and swollen. "I can't lose you," she whispered. "There's a bus leaving for Enugu at dawn. You'll take it." "But what about you?" I asked. She shook her head. "I'll find a way to follow. Just go." I wanted to argue, but I could hear Dad moving around downstairs. Mom pressed a small bag into my hands, money, clothes, and the necklace of teeth. "This will protect you until you're safe." I didn't want to touch it, but something in her voice made me hold on tight. She kissed my forehead. "Sleep now. We leave at first light." But when I woke up, my bag was gone. I searched frantically, tearing through my room. The bag was nowhere. Mom's door was open, her bed empty. Panic surged through me. I ran to the kitchen and found Dad sipping coffee. "Looking for your mother?" he asked calmly. "She had to take care of something." "What did you do to her?" I demanded. He only smiled. "Don't worry. You'll see her soon enough." Something in his tone made my blood run cold. The black car pulled into our driveway again. Dad stood, buttoning his coat. "It's time, Amara. Come with me." I froze, my mind screaming to run, but my body wouldn't move. He reached out his hand. "It's your turn now." Dad's grip was iron as he led me to the black car. The tall man in the coat was at the wheel. I slid into the back seat, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out every other sound. The doors locked automatically. We drove for what felt like forever, the streets growing emptier until only thick forest surrounded us. At last, the car stopped before a rusted gate. Beyond it was an old, crumbling building that looked abandoned. Dad smiled. "Homecoming." The man in the coat unlocked the gate and we drove inside. The building's windows were black holes and strange markings covered the walls. I could feel it. Something alive was inside, watching me. Inside, the air was freezing. Candles flickered along the walls, casting shadows that seemed to move on their own. The man in the coat led us down a long hallway to a massive wooden door. When he pushed it open, my breath caught. The room beyond was a circle of stone, with a fire burning in the center. Around it stood 12 hooded figures. Their chanting rose and fell like waves. One of them stepped forward and removed their hood. It was Mom. Her eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. "Amara, please don't fight." I stared at her, my throat dry. "Mom, what is this?" She glanced at Dad before speaking. "Your father made a deal before you were born. A spirit gave him wealth and power, in exchange for one child at the age of 15. Your brothers were the first two." My knees felt weak. "And now it's me." Dad stepped forward, his voice smooth. "This is bigger than us, Amara. Bigger than family. This spirit sustains everything we have. Without it, we lose everything." I wanted to scream, but my voice wouldn't come. The hooded figures began to circle me. The fire in the center of the room flared high, turning blue. From within the flames, a figure emerged, tall, with skin like smoke and eyes that glowed white. Its voice was deep, vibrating through my bones. "Amara Desmond, you have been promised to me." I stumbled back, but the figures closed in. The spirit's gaze was like ice. "Your brothers served well. You will serve better." It raised a hand and I felt invisible chains tighten around my arms and legs. Mom's face twisted in pain, but she didn't move to help. The spirit's voice thundered. "Kneel, and your family will prosper for generations. Refuse, and they will be destroyed." I looked at Dad. His eyes were locked on me, desperate. Then I looked at Mom. Her lips trembled as if she wanted to speak. But fear held her silent. Every instinct told me to run, but my body was still bound by those unseen chains. Then, from somewhere behind the chanting, I heard a whisper. It was Toby's voice. "Don't kneel." And then Kalechi's. "Fight." My heartbeat roared in my ears. I had only seconds to decide. The tunnel shook as we ran, dust falling from the ceiling. Behind us, the spirit's voice roared like a storm. I kept glancing back, hoping, just hoping, to see Toby and Kalechi chasing after us. But the light from the necklace had faded. "They'll be fine," Mom panted beside me. "Just keep moving." Her words felt wrong. Her tone wasn't grief. It was something else. We burst out into the cold night air, gasping. The mansion loomed behind us, flames licking from the roof. I collapsed on the grass. "We have to go back. They're gone," Mom cut in sharply. Her voice, flat, not sad. Then she said it, quiet, almost to herself. "It was always supposed to be you." I froze. "What?" She looked at me with empty eyes. "Your brothers were mistakes. You were the final one the spirit wanted." The world tilted. "You knew. I brought you here," she said simply. "Your father may have made the deal, but I agreed. We had to survive somehow." My stomach turned. The woman who held me as a baby had been walking me toward death my whole life. "You could have stopped him," I shouted. Her lips curled into something between a sneer and a smirk. "And then what? Watch us starve? Watch everything we built vanish?" Her words cut deeper than any knife. A sudden crack of thunder split the sky, and for a moment I saw them, Toby and Kalechi, standing in the burning doorway, light pouring from their bodies. They didn't look at Mom, only at me. Toby mouthed something I'll never forget. "Live." Then the roof collapsed, swallowing them in fire. The sound tore through me, raw and unbearable. The mansion burned until nothing was left but glowing embers. Mom stood beside me, her face unreadable. When I turned to her, I didn't see my mother anymore, only the woman who had traded her children for her own survival. I walked away without a word. The night was silent, except for the faintest whisper that followed me into the darkness. It was Toby's voice. "I'm still here." "Thank you, brother," I said to him. "Thank you for saving me. I never knew our parents are out enemies. They shouldn't have bring us to the world in the first place." I cried, and I watched as Toby shook his head and vanished. The following day, I left the village to the city. I must survive without a wicked mother and father. I never went back to the village. I built a new life in the city. Small apartment, new job, new people. I told myself the past was buried. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I hear footsteps outside my door. Software slow, deliberate. One evening I came home to find a package waiting on my table. No name, no address. Inside was a small wooden box, and in it the necklace, the same one that had glowed in the tunnel. Only now it was cold, blackened, and cracked down the middle. I almost threw it away. But then I saw it, a faint reflection in the shiny surface. Not mine, Toby's. His lips moved just like before. Only this time it wasn't alive. My brother's spirit have been following me everywhere. They are with me in the city. They are the ones that brought the package to me. They are protecting me, reason why my wicked parents couldn't get through to me. I love you, Toby. I love you, Kalechi. Even in death, I still love you. This is my story, and I missed my brothers so much. They saved my life. They are my guarding angel. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button now. Turn on the notifications, so whenever I post more interesting stories, you'll be the first to get them. I really appreciate you. I do not take your support for granted. See you in my next video. Bye.